know how resourceful you were about getting N95s for your district.
Well, I mean, listen, this is the crisis that we're in, and every leader that I know, not just me, is scrambling to try and find these supplies for their hospitals, for their first responders. That's our responsibility and our duty, and so we're all just using every connection and idea that we have to get these things out of, frankly, mostly China. And I think it's been my experience in the past couple of weeks that has really led me to think, you know what? Our national medical supply chain has national security implications. And I can't believe that on a daily basis, my nurses and my doctors and my first responders have to depend on, whether one of the 5 factories in China decides to sell to the guy we know in line. I don't want that ever happen again. So we went ahead and crafted legislation to make it in America that makes these supplies in the United States, because I just can't be dependent on someone else when we have a time of need.
And I know that a number of the chairman of Armed Services, you serve on Armed Services, you were a former Pentagon official, former CIA analyst. The chairman and several other of the subcommittee chairs have written to the president today also asking that there be a unified supply line of medical equipment.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing is a real change over time. So originally, 4 or 5 weeks ago, the president was very vocal, and he said states should go out and purchase their own equipment. We'll support from behind. And so states really heeded that. And our governor has been fantastic about really sort of turning over every rock to go ahead and set up a procurement team, move out and purchase this equipment. But what it's done is created this sort of Star Wars bar of folks who might have a lead in China, who might have a line in to get the things we need, and then all of a sudden the states are competing against each other. Where we've got guys in line who will say, well, Florida's behind me and California's in front of me. And now FEMA is trying to get in the game, and I was really happy to see that an admiral from the Joint Staff was moved over to HHS to try and get their arms around this. But to enter this process, they are also becoming a competitor. And we've started to hear real reports of, Michigan supplies, other supplies being diverted or delayed as FEMA and HHS come into this marketplace. So it is screaming out for some centralized order. A unified sight picture, as we'd say at the Pentagon. And I have personally called for a national emergency medical supply czar, someone who would sit there and coordinate across the FEMA lines, the HHS lines, and then also all our retooled manufacturers. They have a whole new line on equipment now. So it really is screaming out for some unified plans. But in addition to that, we really need to think about, do we ever want to be in this situation in the future? COVID-19 is a big pandemic, but we have to be learning the lessons now from what's going on and making sure we're never in this situation again. And that's why we really are happy to put forward a series of pieces of legislation to try and prevent this from happening again.
Briefly, I want to just ask you about your reaction, speaking of lessons learned, to the fact, first uncovered by the Washington Post, confirmed by us at NBC News, that the acting Navy Secretary spent $243,000 for that round trip, the 8,000-mile round trip to the Guam, to give that excruciating really awful speech to the crew, which led to his firing. That kind of money being spent for that round trip?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when I first heard the audio from that speech, I turned to my husband, who's 30 years in the Army, and I said, did he fly to Guam to give that speech? Is that in person, or is he on some sort of screen? I was just surprised from a health perspective that he flew out there and in an era of social distancing to go ahead and make that speech in person. And obviously no one likes to see bills that large for something that certainly went the wrong direction. I think the Navy is hopefully trying to clean up and move on. I think that's important. I think that in a time of crisis, if you have an admiral, the captain who is feels something strongly, it is defending the health and the safety of his crew. You need to heed that and understand that. And I think the Navy is trying to regroup right now.
Congresswoman Alyssa Slott from Michigan, thanks very much for being with us. And coming up next, we go to New York City, the mayor. Bill de Blasio with the reality there on the ground. You're watching Answering the Report. Stay with us right here on MSNBC.
What's a Zoom room? It's what your conference room is meant to be, with flawless video and audio conferencing, instant wireless content sharing from any device, and just one tap of a button to start a meeting. Any space can easily become a modern, simple-to-use Zoom room. From huddle rooms to executive offices to huge training rooms. And whether you have a few rooms or a few thousand, Zoom Rooms is effortlessly scalable. Sign up online for a free 30-day trial of Zoom Rooms and meet happy with Zoom.
When running a business, HR issues can kill you. Wrongful termination suits, minimum wage requirements, labor regulations, and HR manager salaries are not cheap. They're $70,000 a year. I'm Alan Jones, founder and CEO of Bambi. I created Bambi specifically for small business. Get a dedicated HR manager, craft HR policy, and maintain your compliance, all for just $99 a month. Seriously, let's change HR from your biggest liability to your biggest strength. With Bambi, your dedicated HR manager is available by phone, email, or real-time chat. From onboarding to terminations, we customize your policies to fit your business and help you manage your employees day to day. All for just $99 a month, period. Month to month, no hidden fees, cancel anytime.
Go to Bambi.com/MSNBC right now to schedule your free HR audit. That's Bambi.com/MSNBC, spelled BAM to the BEE.com/MSNBC.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-256-2143. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-256-2143 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-256-2143 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-256-2143.
It's shocking that your home can be stolen easily. Deborah learned that brutal lesson when thieves found her home's title online. They then forged a document to appear she sold her house. But she didn't. The criminals borrowed thousands using Deborah's home equity. She didn't even know she was a victim until foreclosure and eviction notices arrived. She spent a fortune trying to get her home back. The FBI now calls home title fraud one of the fastest growing crimes, but you can avoid a possible nightmare by protecting your home with Home Title Lock. Neither your homeowner's insurance nor your bank protects you. For pennies a day, Home Title Lock will. Find out if you're already a victim of home title fraud. Register your home at HometitleLock.com and enter radio for 1 month of free protection. Enter radio for 1 month free at HometitleLock.com, HometitleLock.com.
Attention business owners, in these trying times, do you need cash but the banks can't help? AmeriFactors helped in 2008 and we're ready to help again. We give you cash in as little as 24 hours for your business-to-business accounts receivable invoices. AmeriFactors is working and funding businesses so you can stop worrying. For 30 years, AmeriFactors has been here for you, providing cash flow, excellent service, and accounts receivable management. Fund your business with AmeriFactors. 800-737-6195, 800-737-6195, or visit us at AmeriFactors.com.
Welcome back. This morning, Mayor Bill de Blasio saluted New York City residents for staying home and social distancing to help slow the spread of the coronavirus. But he also warned that there is still a long way to go. The mayor says the city still needs greater testing capacity as the next critical step. Mayor de Blasio joins me now. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. I know how busy you are. I can only imagine how busy you are. So thanks for taking this time with us. What are you seeing now in terms of the progress? We're talking about the flattening of the curve. Hospitalizations are down. Do you worry people are so eager to get back out that they may cause this to reignite and slow down the progress that's been made?
Andrea, that's exactly the concern. What I'm telling New Yorkers is that they actually should be very proud in this incredibly painful crisis. You know, the number of people we've lost, the lives we've lost, now far surpassing what we lost on 9/11, the worst day in our history. It's been horrible, and people have had to go through so much painful change, and our lives feel so different just compared to weeks ago. But New Yorkers, Andrea, you know, I wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, people really have worked at it and struggled and done it. They've done the social distancing. They've done the shelter in place. There's been remarkable compliance with the rules that are in place. I've talked to my police commissioner, Dermot Shea, and he says his officers are out there all over the city, and they're struck by how much people are following the rules. And if anyone makes a mistake and, you know, deviates from the rules, they're being warned, and they actually start complying very quickly. So it's not perfect, but it's been a lot, and that has helped us to see some progress lately. I don't want to overstate it, Andrea. We've seen some improvement on the hospitalizations, but I wouldn't really call it a drop. I would say we've just seen less increase in hospitalizations, fewer ventilators than what we expected to need are being used. These are good signs, but they're early signs. So you're exactly right. I'm trying to say to people, let's be moved by the fact that people really worked hard, and it's proving that those strategies work. Shelter in place, social distancing, they work, but you cannot let up the gas. You cannot, for a moment, get ahead of things and sort of count your chickens before they're hatched, or this disease will have a resurgence, and we could actually be worse off.
And when you see the economic hardships that flow from this and the medical realities, the disparity in terms of the racial and ethnic disproportionate impact on people of color, this certainly emphasizes that we need to do more long-term, continuing to help people who have chronic health care issues and lack of insurance coverage. But what can you do in this crisis to help those communities from getting the disease, because they then die in a higher proportion than the rest of the population?
That's right, Andrea. And look, when it's all over, we're going to have to really take stock and recognize this country was not prepared, and that the absence of universal health care was particularly damning in this crisis. And if we're really going to address the disparities, and if we're really going to be prepared for the future, we have to have universal health care. That's just abundantly clear now. But what do we do now? What I announced yesterday was a 4-point plan to address the disparities in healthcare right now, focusing on our public hospitals, where so many people who are lower income go for their care, and strengthening them further. I mean, we spent billions to preserve our public hospital system when it was on the verge of collapse a few years ago. Thank God we did, because now it's been the backbone of saving lives, particularly in the communities that are most afflicted. So it's the public hospitals. It's going out in the communities with a huge traditional advertising campaign and digital to explain all the new things we're learning about the best ways for families to handle this disease and protect themselves in many, many languages. It's going door to door. I mean, again, this goes against what we've been thinking in a time of social distancing, but if we can find enough healthcare workers we can spare and give them the PPEs, we actually need to get people out into communities that are lower income, that are immigrant communities, having a direct conversation with people who need to hear from someone really right there in the community, trusted community members especially. And lastly, a very aggressive telemedicine campaign. We think a lot of people, if they could just talk to a doctor or nurse more frequently and have the assurance they could reach someone, they could actually navigate this and be safer and take care of, say, if there's one sick person in the home, know how to isolate them and support them properly. But a lot of people need coaching. They need a doctor or a nurse to talk to. We're going to make that much more widely available.
Dr. Fauci was talking today to Savannah Guthrie about testing for antibodies for those who've already suffered and been infected and recovered. Do you see this as being widespread in a city as dense and highly populated as New York City?
Yeah, Andrea, right now, I mean, I've already said our healthcare leadership believes we're going to have over 50% of the people in the city ultimately will be infected by this disease. The vast majority, thank God, will have a pretty mild experience, but so many, of course, will not and will struggle with it. But we're talking about millions of people. What testing would do, so we never had testing in the beginning when it could have actually affected the whole trajectory of this crisis. We could have used the testing in the beginning. We pleaded with the federal government. It wasn't there. We're still pleading for it. It's still not here. But if we could get testing on a bigger scale, we could use that strategically to actually create a containment strategy as we move this disease back, as we push it back, to create the kind of containment strategy that we wanted in the beginning, where you keep pushing it down and then you're able to actually trace individual cases, isolate people. If you need to give them hotel rooms or quarantines with lots of support, lots of communication, that's where we need to go. But it's going to take a lot more testing, and the federal government has to step up. This has been one of their biggest Achilles heels. They have to step up. The antibody testing is helpful, I think, particularly in terms of our public servants. It will, I think, help a lot of frontline healthcare workers and first responders. If they know they've got it already, it will give them the confidence to keep doing the heroic work they're doing. But the antibody testing doesn't take the place of the sort of the core coronavirus testing. We need that basic testing on a much bigger level if we're going to really turn the corner for the long term.
Do you now have the PPE that you need for all the hospitals, including some of the hospitals who are so stressed in the boroughs?
Andrea, the answer is for this week only, yes. And that doesn't include surgical gowns, which is still an area we're struggling with, and we're trying to use, some backup items for that. But this week we can get through with ventilators and PPEs. Next week, I'm hopeful, but we don't have everything we need yet. And this is after we've gotten a little bit of relief. We expected it to be almost day to day, just seeing if we can get through a day. It reminds us we need a lot more, and a lot of other parts of America will need a lot more. So we still have not seen the White House using the Defense Production Act as fully as they could. We still don't see the mobilization of the military to help get supplies out. I've talked to President Trump, and look, I've tried to work with him. But I have not seen from the White House the fuller mobilization we need to truly address this. It could be with us for months and months. And in a lot of parts of the country, it's only just beginning. So our country's still not in the state of mobilization for the actual war we're fighting right now.
Well, all of us take our hats off to all of you in New York, to the healthcare workers, the police, the fire, the first responders, the EMTs. It's just been extraordinary. So it's not 7 o'clock at night, but we'll do our own clapping.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
And that does it for us for this edition of Andrea Mitchell Reports. Thank you all for being
Feel good music. Stay Home Radio, channel 179 on most radios, and at home on the Sirius XM app.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance.
Stock market have you nervous with all the massive fluctuations? With the impact of coronavirus and the upcoming election, it's virtually impossible to guess what will happen next. With Vantage Point, you don't have to. Text money to 411-411 to find out how our technology can forecast market trend changes with up to 87.4% accuracy. That's right, 87.4%. Text the word money to 411-411 to get what you need to stay ahead of market trends and better protect yourself from sudden downturns. Vantage Point's patented technology analyzes huge quantities of global data in seconds. No more guessing when to stay or when to get out. Text money to 411-411 and we'll send you a link to our free demo so you can better protect your hard-earned capital with Vantage Point. Don't wait. Text the word money to 411-411.
Go to VantagePointSoftware.com for terms, conditions, and privacy policy.
Message and data rates may apply.
Home is where the heart is, especially now that we've been home more than ever. Blinds.com makes it so simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and shutters. Yes, we needed all three for different rooms in our house. They have the easiest online ordering and free shipping. They helped us every step of the way, just like they've helped millions of other homeowners with free design help by phone and online. Plus, they guaranteed the perfect fit for our windows. It was a great experience, and now my home feels more comfortable than ever and looks awesome.
Consider light filtering window treatments, roller shades, cellular shades, and more from Blinds.com to transform your home into even more of a sanctuary and let the light in without giving up privacy. If you're nervous about doing it yourself, don't be. Blinds.com has helped millions of homeowners through the process. Plus, they guarantee the perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com today for your free online design consultation. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Studies show if you sleep next to someone who snores, you could be losing an hour of sleep every night. I'm Trina Webster, and I don't have that problem anymore.
I'm Dan Webster. We're the founders of Z Quiet.
We know how snoring can turn your sweet dreams into a nightmare of shoving, poking, and morning frustration.
Not to mention those dreaded trips to the couch in the middle of the night.
Snoring was a real problem for us.
I tried everything, even surgery, but nothing worked.
That's when we developed an amazing solution called Z Quiet.
Z Quiet is easy to use and works immediately, so you can sleep comfortably without making a sound. Just pop it in before you sleep and kick snoring out of bed forever.
Millions of people are sleeping better every night thanks to Z Quiet. So if better sleep is one of your goals, go to getzquiet.com.
Z Quiet works for both men and women and is now available on Amazon Prime. Or go to zquiet.com to try it risk-free for 30 days for just $9.95. That's zquiet.com to try it risk-free for only $9.95.
Good afternoon, I am Chuck Todd. Good afternoon, I am Chuck Todd. The number of dead in New York State, the epicenter of the coronavirus crisis, is yet at another new high. Governor Andrew Cuomo says 799 people have died in the last 24 hours from the virus, bringing the total to more than 7,000 deaths just in New York State alone. The governor said he's bringing in an additional funeral directors to handle the remains. Across the United States, more than 432,000 Americans have tested positive. More than 15,000 people have died. We still haven't tested 1% of the population overall yet, by the way. And as we learn more about the devastating health impacts, we're also getting new figures about the economic devastation. Another staggering number of Americans applied for unemployment benefits last week. There could be more economic relief coming. A senior administration official tells NBC News President Trump is planning to unveil a second task force that will be focused on how to open up the economy. But right now, there is a new battle brewing over relief on Capitol Hill. We saw hints of this yesterday, and now it looks like the ugly politics is coming. This morning, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell tried to pass a bill that would add $250 billion to the Paycheck Protection Plan, which provides loans to small businesses. Senate Democrats blocked the move, calling it a political stunt, and then presented their own plan, and it includes $250 billion in new funding for small businesses, plus another $100 billion in grants for hospitals, public entities, and nonprofits to cover unreimbursed health care.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John McCarthy. So glad you could join us for this event here on the TGC Network. It's looking like this is bound for the short stuff. Well, I'm interested to see how they get out of this one. And still in the sand after that shot. That lie will be much more easy than the last one. And about 175 yards to the pin. Going with the 5-iron here. I think you'll like that. And this next shot is sitting up below the hole. Feet out from here. And this is for birdie. And for the par. Nice putt there. And starting today's round second hole tee off. Wind could be an issue on this next hole. Let's see how his tee shot goes. I think he's going to like that from 240 yards away. The shot looks a bit off.
Yeah.
Looks like it's going through the branches here on this one. I can't see him being very happy about that. From 205 yards out. Pretty sure that's the 5-wood. Yeah, not the greatest luck on that approach shot.
Oh.
And he'll be happy with that. Very nice shot out of the bunker, and I'm thinking birdie. 6 feet to go here. Just missing here. And for the par. Finishing this one with a good putt. And after that hole, he will remain at even par. And now let's move to the third hole. So it's looking pretty good. And I think you'll like that. From here, about 230 to the pin. And here's the 3-wood. And pretty sure he's going to like that. He's on the green. Putter's coming out. And this one's for birdie. Good putt. to save par. And that putt drops. And after that hole, he is moving up on the leaderboard. And now the fourth hole. Look at this drive go. Going for days. This one's going to find the fairway. From about $150. I don't think they meant to do that on the approach. Just too much club. And 110 yards or so. Might be a bit too much club on this one. Well, this one's still quite far away, but it is definitely on the green. Too much club, I think. And about 34 feet to go. Oh. And about 9 feet away here. Solid putt. It's about 6 feet to go here. And that par putt will drop. And after that one is unfortunately going to be moving down in the standings. And now setting up on the par 3. It looks like a 6-iron. It's going towards the green here. Alright, and he's on the green now. And here's the 6-iron. I think this might be a bit long. Well, turns out that one is safely on the green. And this for the birdie. This one's a 9-footer. Now drop the birdie. And this putt's for par. And a nice putt. Staying steady in 4th place after that hole. And now the 6th hole. And just absolutely pounded this drive. I can't see him being too happy about that one. He's gonna like that. And I think he will like that. 25 feet from the hole here. This putt's for birdie. And folks, this could be the one for the bird. This one's about 4 feet from the cup. That putt will drop for par. He's going to stay right where he is. Par after that. It's tied for fourth up on the leaderboard. And now teeing off on the par 5. This one's looking pretty good so far. And from here, it's about 240 yards to the green. Three wood in action here. And missing the approach on that one. And I'm sure he won't get too down on himself. He's been hitting those greens pretty good today. From here, 220 yards to the pin. Going with the 3-wood. Looks like that 3-wood might be just a bit too much club. Unlucky on that approach shot. I'm pretty sure the wind, the culprit there. And I think he will be happy with that. And that was a very nice chip in to the cup. And this putt's for birdie. Yeah, that one's right in the cup. And after that hole, 1 under for the day. And he's tied for 3rd place on the leaderboard. Going with the 9-iron. This one's looking good. And he's on the green. He might clear the green with this shot. And ladies and gentlemen, that was a poor approach. A bit too much club on that. Almost. This one's about 7 feet away. And that one will drop for birdie. And this putt is for bogey. Nice little putt. And that performance will put him up to even par. And he's also tied for 5th up on the leaderboard. And on to the 9th hole. And he can't be pleased with himself after that one. I think you'll like that. And about 165 yards to the pin. Going with the 6 iron. And he's probably going to like that. And about 30 feet to the cup from here. putt is needed to save par. He's going to stay right where he is, even par after that one. And he's currently tied for 4th place on the leaderboard. I think that's a 500. And that approach is on the green with some distance left. And this next shot is setting him above the hole, so let's see what happens. That looks like a 5-iron. This putt is for birdie. Just a fantastic putt from that length. Forget about it. And about 18 feet to the cup. Oh, my lands, that was very close. And about 4 feet from the cup. Par putt will drop. And into that hole 1 under for the day. And he's tied for 4th place on the leaderboard. I think you'll like that. Nothing wrong with that. looks like it's going into the deep stuff. And I think he's going to like that. And from here, about 210 yards to the pin. Going with the 5-wood. That's a pretty inspiring shot just there, hitting this par 5 green into definite eagle possibilities. I think he'll be happy with that. This is for the eagle. Oh, and it just didn't drop. And this for the birdie. Oh my gracious, that was close. This looks like around a 4-footer, I'd say. And after that one, staying steady in 4th place. Now setting up for the next par 4 hole. This one's looking like it's in the fairway. And I'm not quite sure here. It could end up in the fairway, though. iron. And with that, he is on the dance floor. And this for the birdie. And this to save par. And that one will drop. Sitting at 1 under for today. Yeah, that also means that he is in 4th place on the leaderboard. And now teeing off on the par 3 hole. And this one's heading towards the green. And he will like that. And about 17 feet to the cup. Ooh, and it just doesn't drop. And this for the par. And a decent putt. This one's about 6 feet away. For the birdie. And no change for them in the standings here after that one, still in 3rd place. And next up we have the par 5 hole. far, so good for this one. Looks like it's going through some trees. He's got to be pleased with that. Looks like he's going through the branches here. And I doubt he'll be too pleased with that. And about 250 yards left to get to that pin. And the shot is taken through the branches. Very well played golf shot. Hitting this par 5 and 2 is going to set up some serious possibilities. Setting up for the 39-foot putt. And this putt is for birdie. That putt will drop. And today, currently sitting at 3 under par. And now setting up for the par 4 tee off. And I think you'll like that. And nicely done, looking like we'll have some fairway here. See how this one goes. They're setting up below the hole. About 100 yards to the pin from here. And with that, he's on the green. This putt's for birdie. And about 7 feet to go here. For the birdie. This one's about 6 feet away. That one drops for par. And after that one, 4 under is the score for the day. And now setting up on the 16th tee. he's probably not too pleased about that. Well, you probably like that. Well, back into the fairway now, and the green is definitely in play. This putt's for birdie. finishing this hole with a solid putt. And currently sitting at 4 under for the day. And is currently tied for second place on the leaderboard. Taking a shot with the pitching wedge. And he's on the green. Going with a pitching wedge here. Pretty sure he's going to like that one from 26 feet. And that was just pretty to watch. Long putt right in the cup. And that putt will drop for birdie. And after that hole, staying fast in the second place on the leaderboard. And as he tees off on the 18th, he is just one stroke off the lead. It's going right through the brush on this one. And as he tees off off here on the 18th hole. Gotta be wondering what's going through his head. One stroke off the lead. This next putt is for a final round score of 65. For the birdie.